computer. Hello, everyone. I have got Michelle Knight here today, and we are going to be talking all about the fascinating topic of bookkeeping essentials for online coach entrepreneurs. And Michelle, thank you so much for being here. I really was hoping and praying that you would come in and talk to you, right? Because I've been in business since 2006, online coach entrepreneur, and I worked with a couple of bookkeepers. And what I found is that most of them don't understand online business and how it all works. And then you come like from the heavens with me, and you're like, understand all of my questions about PayPal and Stripe and currency conversions, and and you've just really helped me like understand my whole product line. And I just have this clarity in my bookkeeping and my numbers that I've never had before in many years of business. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for being here.
How's that for an intro?
Boom, like here she is.
Well, I love you. I was like so happy you're in my life. So I was so excited. I know you're super busy. So I was so excited when you said, yeah, you'd come in and help the coaches of the world, even though we're based in Australia. But I think there are some bookkeeping principles that do cross borders. So I'm just really grateful to have you here. And you're
thank you. I mean, definitely. Accounting, debits and credits is a universal language, yeah, there's definitely some things that I think would transpose across the globe. So yeah, happy to have a chat about that.
Great, and we'll talk about that. And if there are some things that are specific to our Australian, New Zealand listeners, then you can throw those in there too. Okay, but I do want to do a little bit of an intro because I was really impressed when I did go to your About page and saw that you've been doing this work since 2012. And I loved that you said that you're here really to help small business owners work smarter and gain back time. And you've certainly given that to me. Like before, doing my numbers would take me forever. And now I can go into Xero. I can push a profit and loss report. I know exactly what to do. And I can just, share with people who need to know my numbers. So it saved me lots of time. It's amazing. It took some time to get there, but now it's like, wow, it's done. I was also, I think it's worth noting too that you're a registered BAS agent, which for our international listeners who are not Australian listeners, that's an Australia specific thing. Chartered accountants of Australia and New Zealand, Justice of the Peace. That's important. I'm glad to know that I know a Justice of the Peace. That's important when I need to get official things signed. A Xero certified advisor and a QuickBooks certified advisor. Got a Bachelor of Commerce and Accounting and a graduate diploma of Chartered Accounting. Quite a list, and I had to write it down because it was a mouthful. So so thank you so much for bringing your professional expertise here today. So let's get into our questions. I've got three main ones, and then of course the bonus questions that I like to ask everybody I interview that just kind of like gives us a flavor of you as a person. And the first question is just at a high level to kind of set the context. What's the difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant? Because I talk to my coach friends and there is actually some confusion of like, do you need to? What's going on there?
Yeah, so by definition, they're two separate roles. I think the bookkeeper is someone who's really in the daily grind of the business. So they're going to be assisting you with the accounting software, data entry, a lot of like accounting type work that needs to be done, whether that's weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly. So typically you would be engaging your bookkeeper on a more regular basis, just because of, the invoicing, the billing, that's got to be picked up a lot more often. When we think about the accountant and that role, it's all around more year-end or quarter-end stuff and at a high level. So that's going to be your tax returns, that's going to be your financials, that's going to be any high-level advice that, we need to go and speak to your tax agent / accountant to make sure that we're doing that right, we're getting that right. And in perfect balance, where you need both the bookkeeper and accountant, they're going to be working together. So, for example, when I'm doing bookkeeping services, an example like with you, Benin, and your tax agent, where, doing bookkeeping BASs and looping in the accountant to make sure that when it gets to doing their bit, whether that's once a quarter or once a year, it's clean, everything's in the loop, and everyone's happy. There are going to be some clients who they definitely need those two separate roles or for example, there might be someone who's a little bit smaller, who looks after their bookkeeping, or it's not quite such a massive task for them, and they might see their accountant maybe that once a quarter, once a year, and need be, they might have to reach out to a bookkeeper sometimes during the year, but it's probably not a big need to, so they might just have the accountant bit. So hope that clarifies something.
I love that distinction. Actually, the bookkeeper is helping with that daily grind, the sort of ongoing, regular administration of the finance section, and the accountant being that really high level, those big touch points at the financial year, or maybe when you need some advice about legal structures for your business.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's really clear. And I just want to share for our listeners, like, I think that with this, like, you as the business owner really are the best person to decide, and there is no like right formula. Like my business, my husband and I both have a business. We have some other things together. So for us, when we started down this track with a specific accounting company, we really like them. But I was really struggling just getting my head around all my numbers. So it was obvious that I needed some other support from a bookkeeping, but that group really wasn't a good fit for them. And then when I met you, Michelle, and you're just like, yep, I understand this, we can do this, we can do this. It was just really clear that I needed a different level of expertise than to feed in to the accountant. So that works really, really well for me at the moment, but that could change. So I guess my word of advice is just like feel into really what you want and what you need, and don't let anybody dictate it to you, because you are your best teacher.
100%.
All right. So that was a great start. Thank you. So the next question is, I wanted just to set the scene for the types of businesses we're looking at. You know that my audience is coaches all over the world. So some of them will have big agencies where they're, sending out coaches into organizations. Some of them will be very small coaches, some even just starting out, just a handful of clients. And then, some of us have online products, or passive income streams with online products or online courses, that kind of thing. So can you just help us set the scene from a bookkeeping perspective for the differences between that more traditional face-to-face service provider business versus this new thing that's really coming into its own, especially now, which is the online coaching business? Just setting the stage.
So, coaches online, I mean, really, as someone in this space, you've got to be tracking services you're providing domestically, service you're providing internationally. Now, each country has their different tax laws and what's going to have tax on it, VAT tax, GST, same but different, with, all different percentages, numbers, and that. I always try and make it really clear to my clients that when we get you set up on an accounting program, whether that's my QuickBooks, Reckon, I'm a very big Xero advocate, that we get that right in the beginning. So whether that's tracking all your coaching services, particularly related to face-to-face, particularly related to online, or that could be, say, online coaching services or coaching services that are international versus domestic. Because at the end of the day, being able to categorize, split, divide that income is going to make it a lot easier for your bookkeeper or accountant to identify, okay, what are the tax laws in our country, our location, and how do we apply that to you in your situation?
Yeah, that was one of my big ones too, because you get people from all over the world buying things, but Australia wants that little piece of anybody who's Australian that wants to buy something of mine.
Yeah, so, in Australia, we have specific rules around, do we add GST, which is ours, a specific tax for goods and services to what services you provide. So it's really hard to identify that if as a business owner, you don't have that data, have that ability to track that. So, we either have to retrospectively go back to make sure that that's correct. Otherwise, we have some, I suppose, pain points like moving forward. So it's just being mindful of making that really clear from a bookkeeping side.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, for people who are starting out, like if you just have a handful of clients, it's okay. You can like just do kind of a dump as long as you've got everybody's addresses and say, okay, these are all the people that have bought locally. These are all the ones that are internationally. But when you've got, you're getting into hundreds of transactions, you don't want to be doing that manually. So hopefully
Exactly.
seeds are planted. It could save you lots of angst and time in the future.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, the next question really is, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see clients making when it comes to bookkeeping?
Ooh, not asking for help is probably like a big one. So I, I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups and, get women in business and entrepreneur type things. And I see a lot of recurring questions come up, which it's great because it sort of gives me an understanding of what people have pain points with, and they're asking for help. But when people do come to me, they kind of go, oh, I was scared to reach out. It's all, accounting seems so scary and stressful. And I say, don't think about that at all. Numbers are so powerful. So I feel like you have to take it as this thing of power and strength. And if you understand your numbers, then don't be scared of it. So get help where you need it, because that's going to save a lot of time and angst. If you kind of fumble around, try and do something and realize, oh my goodness, I've completely messed that up, it's going to cost you more in the long run to fix. The second thing is definitely getting the systems, processes, books right in the beginning. So again, being in a startup phase is sort of that, oh, do I invest my time into all this setup, and it is costly. And I say it's an investment because some clients I see, they kind of do a manual process, which is fine. They get see this immense growth in say 6 months, 12 months, and then they have no idea about their numbers. They have essentially a system that's non-existent, and then we have to retrospectively go back and fix that again, time and money, when if we just spent a small percentage of time in the beginning getting help, getting that set up, you can hit the ground running, and that scale is going to be a lot better, a lot easier, and a lot more informative for where you are as a business owner. And probably the third main mistake that I see is ignoring compliance obligations. So especially in that startup stage, you might be, not making a lot of income, going, okay, that's fine. But, the next thing, you're growing, you're not setting aside money for your taxes and that sort of thing. So you kind of want to keep that in the back of your mind. I've got to pay money to Mr. Taxman. Let's make sure that even if it is a very, very small percentage we're setting aside each month or each week or each fortnight, we're actually doing that, because he's going to be knocking on the door at some point.
Yeah, I hear you. That's what we have to talk about after this. I love those points. So the first one, just about asking for help, I think you could put me in. I mean, I'm quite an empowered, kind of confident woman. I help people do that even. And at the same time, I was terrified of my numbers. Like, it was just, I had massive personal resistance to it. And having you on board and just like, that voice in my ear saying, this is empowering, you can do this, there's nothing, scary going on here, and helping me actually, get everything categorized and in shape is how I want to see it. Because I've got all these different product streams, and I've never before had such clarity around which product streams are doing what and which ones are costing what, because I just hadn't categorized my reporting. Everything just kind of went into one big pot. And then I knew, profit and loss at the end of the year, and that was it. But now that I have that, I have to say that as a businesswoman, I feel so much more empowered. So I think it's kind of not one as a coach that we think about very, we look at, trauma and healing your soul and, confidence building and all that stuff, but actually knowing your numbers, it's like, it's a really empowering tool.
It is, yeah, it is. And like, you'll have good months and bad months or whatever, and you get to the month and go, okay, let's actually have a look, and be thinking, oh, I had a really bad month, and then my goodness, like, I didn't realize until, the data's there. Yay, like, you know, little win, let's celebrate and let's keep moving on.
Yeah, I love that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was setting up your systems up front to scale. Could you talk just a little bit more about, because you were the first person that really helped me move online and move into Xero so that everything was coming into one place, because I've got, you know, money in PayPal, money in Stripe, money in a bank account, and they were all just kind of bleh, but now they're all feeding into this one system, and I've got real clarity about all those different gateways. Can you just talk a little bit about, I don't know, some of the benefits, challenges, and anything that comes up for you that might help our audience, coaches?
When you talk about sort of the feeding into your core accounting package, if we get that set up correctly, I feel like the as you scale, that bookkeeping bit's going to be a lot easier. So you could go from, I don't know, 10 sales a week to 1,000 sales a week. At the end of the day, if we've got that set up correctly, the bookkeeping process is going to be the same. The difference is there's just a few more transactions to reconcile. You know, if we didn't have that set up, then it is a little bit harder. I mean, you'd have to just go through a manual process of getting that cleaned up into the accounting system. So that's why I say, okay, let's connect all the dots. So we don't have to do as much work. We just make that process as streamlined as possible. And that's, I suppose, like my biggest point is, let's get it all in there. We don't have to fluff around, because we get to a point where it's just a complete mess. And that goes to setting up the invoicing correctly. I've had people who do manual invoicing or use a program that's really not appropriate for them. And again, it's all around business needs and what you do and how that fits in with you. But if we pick the right solution in the beginning, then you're, I don't know, 10 invoices a week to 100,000 invoices a week. It's the same process. It just makes, when the volume increases, it's still streamlined throughout your whole, you know, bookkeeping process.
Yeah. So setting up to scale really is that's really resonating. I want to throw in another question for our internationalist, our non-Australian listeners. And, you know, if you're in Australia, then obviously you can call Michelle. But if you're looking for a bookkeeper, like, oh, wow, I really want someone who has this kind of level of understanding about online business, how would you suggest somebody go about finding a great bookkeeper for specifically that's knowledgeable in the online space, or any questions they should ask in the interview? For actually getting a good bookkeeper?
I don't have any particular referrals overseas, but, you know, if any listeners, watchers out there, reach out to me, because I've got a whole network of people, you know, that I potentially ask. But when it comes to finding that right person, I think you've got to ask, I think at the end of the day, you're going to have the right gut feeling if the person's right for you. You know, from where I sit, so I know some clients aren't the right fit, and that could be based on a number of things. It could be, you know, their personality, the way I do things might not be what they like to do. For example, I had a client who was like, okay, Michelle, I like to keep physical receipts. And I said, I'm cloud-based, like this is just not going to work. So I think when you are, I suppose, vetting the right professional to help you, it's what industries do they work with? Are you the right fit for them? Because some accountants, bookkeepers, they'll niche specifically down in some areas because they love it and they do that, and others, you know, won't. I think if you find someone who's very familiar with your industry is going to be the first thing. Secondly, based on what you do their processes fit in line with you So for example, you know, I love being online. I love the Zoom calls. I love teaching clients how to use things like Receipt Bank, which is now called Dex, which is like online bills capturing. So I really resonate with clients who are all about you know, the cloud, the electronic type things. You know, there are potential clients I've met who are a little bit apprehensive of using that, and I feel like that's not the right fit. Again, you might meet an accountant or bookkeeper who maybe doesn't quite utilize those certain software functions add-ons, then potentially might not be the right fit for you. So I think making sure that they're across, say, PayPal, Stripe, if that's what you use, is going to be a big thing. And what else did you ask your accountant? I mean, yeah, definitely check, their experience and qualifications. Not all bookkeepers and not all accountants are bred the same. So yeah, just make sure that they've got the right background for what you need. Bookkeepers and tax agents probably getting a little bit technical now, but they all do different things. And you might be asking a bookkeeper, oh, can you do my tax returns? And you say, oh, no, you've got to actually speak to your accountant. So you might completely just go, oh, that's fine, we'll just refer you on to the right professional. So make sure that they're kind of fitting in with what you need.
Ooh, we didn't talk about tax advisors at all. That's actually really important when you're working in an international sphere. But anyway, we will save that conversation. But you planted a seed for me there. Okay, that's awesome. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, where's one best place they can go?
Email's the easiest. So hello@littlemissbookkeeping.com.au. But a lot of clients or potential clients like to reach out to me on Instagram. So I'm monitoring that, and my admin extraordinaire Taylor. So ironically, a lot of people are connecting me via Instagram. So that's another place to make.
I think that might be how we found you. Or maybe it was a Google search. I can't remember. You've got a beautiful Instagram profile and just a beautiful brand in general. It makes it's very appealing to a coach. I have to say from experience, like, oh, I feel like I'm in good hands here.
Definitely trying to break that boring mold of accountants that I've historically sat in. I am sort of like the millennial upcoming accountant in my career path. So I didn't want to be one of, I suppose, what my boss used to be.
Yeah. And you definitely are doing an amazing job of that. I love coming over, seeing your jet skis in the garage.
Yes, work hard, play hard, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now this is one of my favorite parts of the interview. It's my bonus questions that I ask people. So let's see, there's 4 of them. So what would be your number one advice for a coach today?
Oh, number one advice for a coach today. Just like accounting specific, like, I don't know, isn't it too broad?
Well, I'm not gonna like make it only accounting specific, but I mean, that is your area of expertise. So if something comes into your mind, then
I would say plan. And, for example, I've been working on what I call a clarity plan. So, what my business is going to be in the next 5 years, because I know where I want to be, but, putting those steps in place to have my clarity plan and where I want to be. And when I say plan, that's not just a business goal planning, but planning to get all your accounting and bookkeeping on the right track and putting in processes and that sort of thing. So plan is like a big thing for me. Again, I'm a Capricorn A-type personality, so.
Yes, thank you world for that.
And just for people in business in general, when I say plan, it's like exit plan. I find a lot of business owners, they go into business going, I want to, achieve this, get to this, grow a team this big, whatever it might be, reach revenue of X. But in reality, we are probably not going to be doing what we are until we die. So I think it's really important to build a business with an exit strategy. So it might be, I'm going to be working in this business for the next 10 years. Okay, Benet, what's going to happen at year 10? Are you going to sell the business? And your business is an asset. So if you grow it in the right way, you're going to get to a point where potentially you could sell it. Are you going to restructure? There's a whole lot of different things. But what I don't want to see happen is you've spent 5-10 years building this amazing asset, and you decide, okay, no, I'm just going to do something different today, change my career path, change businesses. We don't want you to lose this asset because we haven't thought about the end. So
I love that. It's really relevant to me too. I mean, I'm an ideas person. I'm always launching these different sort of product streams. And I did look around at selling off a specific product stream. And when it came to like actually breaking that little piece off, like I just couldn't. I didn't have the systems in place. I didn't have the breakdown of my numbers clear enough to even prove the value of it. So yeah, getting getting that in place and understanding what you might want to sell. Very important.
Yeah.
And it takes time. Like, it's not like, oh, I can do that in 2 weeks. Maybe you could if you're superhuman, but which many of us are, of course, but okay, fantastic. So that is number one advice. What is your personal definition of success? Ooh.
Question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, personal, I mean, we set goals, we want to achieve them, but you could set number of goals in the year and achieve them or not achieve them, but I think it comes down to how that makes you feel, because I set goals last year and I didn't achieve them. COVID hit us really hard, and there was, I suppose, some passion projects that I wanted to just take up. Did I in the end achieve them? No, but am I still working on them? Yes. And I feel like even though I didn't kind of hit the nail on the head, I think there is still success in certain things that you aspire to do. So yeah, I don't know which way you want to take that. I don't think success is essentially like the end. Because when people say I'm going to hit the goal off the list, I'm successful. There's no end to success.
So that you're still successful, even though you didn't reach your goals this year, because of it was a bit of a crazy year.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing is you still feel successful because
we're still moving forward in the direction that we want to.
Okay, so success for you might be moving forward in the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
I love that. What is that phrase where you take little steps? There is a really cool phrase and it's completely left my brain. If anybody listening gets the phrase, you can add it in. But like just a baby step every day.
Yeah, it's like how long does it take to eat an elephant one bite at a time?
One bite at a time. Yes, I have to remind myself, especially this week. Oh my gosh. Mercury's been in retrograde again. Oh my goodness. I'm all over the place. Okay. 2 more questions. What are you grateful for?
I think COVID taught me a lot. And it's really changed my mindset. I think just because we got stripped of, we had lockdown and, a lot of things got taken away from us. So I'm grateful for health. Without this vessel, I can't do what I do, what I love. I can't, So health was definitely a big thing for me. I got, sick lots of times last year, and I think purely because of burnout. I'm grateful for my friends and family. Without them, there is, you have the love and support, and that really got me through last year and the strain that a lot of people in the accounting industry had. And I'm grateful for my amazing team. Without them, I don't know what 2020 would have been. So yeah, I think they're the 3 things I'm most grateful for.
Beautiful. That's lovely. Last but not least, 3 truths about life that you would share with your nearest and dearest if you had to just pick 3.
3 truths. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Oh, nice.
I never really understood that until recently, and I was definitely pouring from an empty cup. So make yourself a priority, even though it probably sounds a little bit selfish. But when I had to recoup and recover, I could keep pouring. So that's probably my first truth. Second truth. Family and friends and that support network comes first. It comes first over money, everything. I mean, I have a nephew who's about to turn 2, and I can't, the love and the connection I have with him, trumps everything over materialistic things. So, friends and family are going to be number 1 in my life. Third life truth. Don't take things too seriously.
Oh, I love that one.
You'll make mistakes, you'll have bad days, haters gonna hate. And as Taylor Swift says, shake it off, like tomorrow's another day.
Whenever that song comes on in the car, I have to I'm driving.
It's like my mantra, you're coming like, it's true, don't spend more than 5 minutes worrying about anything if it's not going to be an issue 5 years down the track or something. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much. I love those questions. I just find that like it shows this other side, you know, of people, and yeah, beautiful. Okay, well, everybody, I hope you've learned heaps about bookkeeping. I'll put all of the links, Michelle, in the show notes of this, and I think I'll be typing up some of this as well for people who like to read. Thanks so much, Michelle. I can't thank you enough for just taking the time out and talking to us today.
It was great to be here. And then, yeah.
All right. All right. Bye, everyone. Happy coaching.
Bye.